Alright, so I've been in the mood to shoot my Mosin. Got a good old-fashioned Russian Mosin, right? 9130, same gun everybody else has. I really like this gun. Really enjoy shooting this gun. And it's been pretty darn accurate for me. So I came up to load up some ammo and looked at some of my old videos to see what I'd loaded before and some of my notes, and I didn't realize I haven't actually done a dedicated 7.62x54R video. So it's time to start one here. You know, we'll start a little series here where we load up some Mosin ammo. Couple things. Yeah, the Hornady manual, which I love this manual. This is the best manual. If you're going to own one manual, it should be the freaking Hornady manual. It's got everything. It's got a nice section for 7.62 Russian, they call it. All the way from 110 grain bullets up to 220 grain, big old fat bastards there. So a couple problems reloading 7.62x54R. So you got the Russian guns with the bigger bore, right? Like that need bullets that are, you can see these are 311 diameter. And then the Finnish Mosins, I guess, and I don't know, maybe some others have a tighter bore and shoot 308 bullets. So when you're looking at load data or looking at stuff, you got to kind of pay attention to which bullet they're looking at. And the Hornady manual has data for both bullets. So like 308, 308. Here's a they got 150 grain 312 bullet. 308. Let's see. There's a 311. So they've got data for both size bullets. I bought just plain old Lee dies. I think this is the pace setter kit. Yeah, it's got 3 dies, fulling sizing die, bullet seating die, and then their factory crimp die. So I went ahead and pulled this out here. So this is the sizing die, and this is the expander ball, right? Your brass goes up in the sizer, the next gets sized, and then this expander comes out and expands that neck. And this, alright, if I can get a reading on it here, is the 308 expander. That's saying 307. If I can get it lined up here right. This guy is 308-ish, 307.5. So this die set is meant for 308 bullets. And they even mention right here inside of the dies, they've got some load data here that comes with this. That these loads were developed using 308 bullets. If you have a rifle with a 311 groove and wish to use 311 or 312 bullets, you can order the Easy Expander for the 303 British, part number SE2358, $3.50 plus shipping and handling. I haven't bought one yet. You can see I bought some bullets, planning to load some of the bigger bullets, but I haven't bought the expander yet. And the main reason, I haven't loaded, I just bought this gun this past summer. I've only loaded like 70 or 80 rounds for it. That's all the ammo I've put through it. The 308 shoot pretty freaking good. The bore on my gun's in good shape, right? It's not too super skanky, but I'm getting good groups with 308 bullets. So I'm just going to continue to load some 308 bullets. I think I'll get an expander and try these, but here for the first couple videos here, we're going to load up 308 bullets. We'll save this for later. If your Mosin shoots like crap with 308 bullets, this might be the ticket. I'm going to be using the, yeah, let's see what the hell I got here. So yeah, so I bought the Lee dies. These have worked great so far. They come with a shell holder. And, yeah, got your little shell holder. These are nice and cheap. Something like this, I always go with Lee dies. They do a pretty darn good job for this sort of stuff. So there's our dies. The bullet we're going to use is the 168 grain Hornady AMAX. I like this bullet. I shoot it in my M1 Garand, and I've got some loads worked up for my Swiss K11 and K31. I like this bullet. This is kind of my Milsert bullet. So I've always got these on hand. I'd like to shoot these in the Mosin, and that's what I've been shooting in the Mosin. So that's what we're going to stick with. So our Hornady manual has got plenty of data here for 168 grain bullets. There's our 168 grain AMAX. There's our, yeah, so got the 4895s, IMR 4895, H4895, IMR 4064, and the other one, Alliant Reloader 15. That's actually what I've loaded in this before, is Reloader 15, and it shot really well. I thought for today I'd switch things up and we'd try some IMR 4895. But those are a couple good powders. IMR 4064 would work great. Data's here. Yeah. And those are all, these are on the shelf these days. 4064, 4895, Reloader 15. At least in my area of the world, you can go into pretty much any shop and pick up a pound. And I'm just going to use some standard CCI large rifle primers. Some number 200 primers. Let's talk about brass really quick. I bought Norma brass. It's freaking expensive, but it's really nice brass. I figured, you know, I'm not going to shoot these a ton. Just buy a batch of brass and they'll freaking last my lifetime. And I still think that's the case. This is really nice brass. You don't need to spend that much money on brass. If you've been shooting this stuff and keeping your brass, this is good brass. Boxer primed, right? Good brass. So another thing about brass. This Norma brass, and I think the Lapua makes, I don't know, somebody else makes brass for this, and it's actually labeled 762 by 53R. So I guess the Finnish guns maybe are like that, or have that designation. So this has been actually fired a couple times. 2.086. If we look at our manual at our trim length, case trim length 2.105. That's 20 thousandths short of trim length, and it's been fired several times and it's never been trimmed. This is short brass. So if you get brass and it's super short, that may be what's going on. This stuff's shot fine for me so far. I'm not freaking out about it. I just clean up the necks a little bit and just keep on shooting them, and I don't have to trim, which I freaking hate trimming. So that's a bonus. Now this PPU, this stuff that I shot, factory ammo, it 2.102. Remember our trim length is 2.105. So this, having been fired once, is right around trim length, which is what you'd normally see, 2.100. So another firing or two, and these would probably need trimmed. These are so freaking short, I don't know if they'll ever need trimmed. So nothing to freak out about. It's just something to keep in mind if you run into that as you reload. I'll tell you what, you know, and you may ask yourself, why in the hell are you going to reload for a Mosin anyway? You can buy a spam can full of surplus ammo for dirt cheap, and I'm a frickin' sissy. I don't want to like shooting this stuff. I don't enjoy shooting this. There's too much recoil. I like loading up light loads where it doesn't kick too bad and it's fun to shoot. That's what that gun's all about. When I'm pulling it out, I just want to go out and have some fun. So that's what I like about hand loading for this, is just being able to load nice light loads. You know, the gun's a frickin' a million years old. I don't want to damage the gun. I don't want to shoot hot ammo in it. You know, let's shoot nice light loads, have a comfortable gun to shoot, and hopefully have some better accuracy. And that's what we're going to find out today. I think what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to shoot IMR 4895. We will stick with Hornady's recommended overall length, 2.820. Nothing fancy here. We're just going to kind of stick with what they say, and we're going to use IMR 4895. They show a starting charge of 38.3 and a max charge of 44.4. And I don't want to go up to max, so I backed off max a couple of grains to about 42.5, and we're going to load a bunch. Actually, I've still got 10 rounds loaded from previously, some of my Reloader 15 loads, but we're going to go ahead and load 40. We're going to load 40 rounds, and we're going to load 8 different charge weights and just shoot groups and see which ones shoot better. So we're going to start at 39 grains and then go up in half grain increments all the way up to 42.5 grains, and we'll see how they shoot. If you do need to trim, which I had bought this before I had realized I'll probably never need to trim. This is the Lee case length gauge and shell holder, and you use these with the Lee cutter and lock stud. Actually, here's one. Yeah, this is like the lock stud, and I should probably prepare for this sort of stuff, but yeah, you got a little cutter and lock stud. You put this in there, and then your brass goes in, and then this little length gauge thingy has got a little cutter thingy that comes with the cutter and lock stud, and then this goes down in there, goes through the flash hole, and trims your brass. You put it in a drill and you're frickin' trimming. So this is a very cheap option. It's like 15 bucks for both the case length gauge and shell holder, and then the cutter and lock stud, like 15 bucks, and you're trimming. So if you're looking to get into this cheap, that's the way you want to trim, my friend. No doubt about it. So we're pretty much ready to rock. First step's going to be sizing. We're going to be sizing this brass. So let me get my crap together here, get some stuff out of the way, and we'll get started. Alright, first thing we need is a reloading tray. This MTM Universal has got a big hole in it that does a decent job of holding these. Of course, I mean that's a problem with just about everything. These big rim cases don't fit all that well in stuff, but that's okay. So this kind of needs a pretty big boy reloading press, right? You're not going to be, this is a man-sized cartridge, so some of the little dainty options out there are going to make life difficult. I do have a beginner's guide to reloading series where I load some 7.62 by 54R on the Lee single stage kit, and that's a good kit. I still definitely recommend it for getting started cheap, and but you know, still having a pretty darn good strong press to work with. It'll do just about anything we want to do. Our first die is going to be the resizing die, which just, you know, gives a little squeeze and gets it back somewhere near, you know, factory size. Not quite, but enough to where it should chamber without too much problems. I probably should have put this brass in my tray before I turned the camera on, right? It's not exactly that exciting watching a person put brass in a tray, but that's okay. What the hell else you got going on? You in a hurry? And I also need to get the, alright, almost there. 4 more. There we go. Okay. And the one I dropped. Where'd it go? There it went. What we'll probably do, like this first video I'll just load up, and then the next video will be a range trip where we get out and actually test these. So I had the decapping pin out of my die. I took the opportunity to go ahead and wipe out the gunk out of the die. Lube and stuff accumulates in there. You want to keep your dies clean, and a little bit of oil. Kind of treat them like a treat them a lot like a barrel, and you'll be in pretty good shape. So need to get this, and the depth is kind of important. If you have it too high up in there, for one, it won't pop out your old primers. Right? Yep, you see the little decapping pin that sticks out there. It goes down, pokes out your old primers if your brass still has primers in it. If you get it too high, it'll actually crush your neck, which is not cool, man. Brass ain't cheap, right? So let's get this guy about, I don't know, about right there. Alright, start getting this. Get our depth about right. That looks okay. And it keeps sliding on me. There we go. That's pretty close. And I was off camera. Yeah, get it pretty tight. There we go. Yeah, if you don't have it tight enough, that might be a little bit too deep, but that's okay. Should be okay. Yeah, if you don't have it tight enough, whenever it goes to deprime, this will actually just push out the top. So, in our reloading press, we need our shell holder, which comes with our die set, which is what's going to hold our brass while it's in there. In the press, yeah, where'd that go? There it is. Come here. Alright, so that goes on the ram of our press, and our resizing die screws in above it. Lee dies come with really good instructions, but most resizing dies, you basically just screw them down until the die touches the shell holder, and then like to drop the ram and then go like a little bit, usually about a quarter turn, till it really is making good solid contact, and then we tighten down the lock ring. Lock ring doesn't have to be super crazy tight. So there we go. So that's a good good solid contact. As far as lube, there are a lot of options. Today I'm going to use Redding Imperial Sizing Wax, which is good stuff. And it kind of looks like this. This stuff lasts forever, and it's cheap. You just get a little bit on your fingers, just wipe a little bit on the case, and then you're rocking and rolling. So it goes in, goes up in there, and then comes out. And then that is a resized piece of brass. Now if we had caps in there, if we had primers in there, it would have popped out during that process, of course. So I'm going to run through this, do this 40 times. And after that, we'll be ready to put in some primers. Guess I could gab a little bit more while I'm resizing. With this Imperial Sizing Wax and I think Hornady makes a very similar product. I forget the name of it. You just make it greasy, right? You just kind of make it greasy. If you don't lube your cases or don't lube them well enough, what can happen is the brass gets stuck up inside of the die, and that's bad news, man. it's hard to get a stuck case out of a die. They make you know, kits for getting them out of there and all that sort of stuff, but it ruins your day. You know, it just ruins your day. Now, if you lube too much, what happens is while the brass is up in the die, the excess lube pulls around the neck, and it dents. You get dents in your in the shoulder of the case. So if you're seeing that, you know, after resizing, you got these little vertical dents going on in your shoulder, that's what's going on. You got too much lube, man. You need to back it off a little bit. Another lube method I like to use a lot is the alcohol and lanolin mixtures. I think Frankfurt Arsenal makes some. Dillon makes some, which is what I've got. And a lot of people mix their own. Like they, I don't know, go to the health store or whatever and buy pure lanolin and then mix it with the most pure alcohol they can find, I guess. And make their own. Let me grab. Yeah, this is the Dillon case lube. You spray it on, then let the alcohol dry, and it leaves behind a nice little coating of lanolin. That stuff works really well. Works really well. So this is the Redding T7 turret press. You can see, like right now, I've got the you know, the fulling sizing die in there. This guy rotates, and you're able to have multiple dies in here and quickly switch back and forth between. Where a single stage press is a very, very similar operation. I mean, pretty much identical operation, only it doesn't have the rotating head, right? It just holds one die at a time, which can be a bit slower, but that's okay. They're generally cheaper, and if you're really going, you know, balls to the walls for precision, you know, this rotating head introduces some additional, you know, movement and stuff that you may not want if you're going for absolute crazy precision. This guy loads some good ammo. I'm happy with it. Alright, down to the last one here. And there we are. So there's our 40 pieces of resized brass. Next time I need to wipe off all of the lube, and I didn't bring a rag up here. Alright, let me go get a rag. Alright, almost done wiping these guys down. I've been sitting here kind of pondering the situation. You know, the Mosin doesn't exactly have the best sights in the world. Although I like them better than the freaking Swiss guns. I'm wondering if maybe doing 4 10-shot groups might give more reliable data, right? I'm just wondering if 5-shot groups are going to be enough to really give a good indication. So we can do 4 10-shot groups, and still got 10 rounds of the Reloader 15 load I had loaded previously that we could compare them to. That might be a better idea. That's what we'll do. We'll do 4 different charge weights instead of 5 or instead of 8. All right, there we go. So at this point, there's a lot of additional brass prep you could do. And what we're going to do, no doubt about it, is the case mouth sometimes gets dinged up, or, you know, whatever. It hit the concrete on the way out. Last time was fired or something like that. It's straightened out now, you know, through the resizing die, but sometimes it still gets a little bit jacked up, and what we need to do is deburr and chamfer the case mouth. You know, we want that bullet, as we're seating it, to just go really smoothly into the neck of that case. So we chamfer the inside of the case mouth lightly, and the outside. So that gets rid of any anything weird going on there. So I definitely want to do that to all of these. Other things, so like, let's see, see the primer pocket still a little bit crusty in there, a little bit of black junk. Couple different options for that. There are primer pocket scrapers like this, which they're not blades, they're just little scrapers that can go down in there and scrape some of that crap out. There are brushes, you know, you can brush out the primer pocket to get them cleaned up. These are really quite clean. Like, you know, a little bit in there is absolutely no big deal. Nothing to worry about. The other thing, I haven't reloaded any of the PPU brass, but some brass, like the primer pockets, are a little jacked up, or they're not deep enough, or they're screwed up. There's also a primer pocket uniformer, which is like a blade that goes down and it trims the bottom of the primer pocket, which these it's not touching. But well, yeah, here's another one. So this is a flash hole deburr. Some brass, you'll find that, like, inside, like down at the flash hole, yeah, way down in there, there's like a big burr hanging out there, and this goes down in there and, you know, is able to clean off that burr. We're not going to do any of that crap, but this is the point where a lot of that other crazy stuff, this is where you would do it. All we're going to do is deburr and chamfer, and then by God, we're going to be ready for primers. One thing I may not have made clear, this would also be the time to trim brass, right? If you needed to trim, this would be the time to trim. And after trimming, this step of deburring and chamfering the case mouth is even more important, because trimming usually leaves a nice big skanky burr hanging off of the mouth of the case that definitely needs cleaned off of there if you want your bullets to seat in nice and even and smoothly. So anytime you're talking about 7.62 by 54R and reloading, of course, what comes up is, you know, what's the price per round, and is it cheaper than surplus? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to save money. What we're doing here, we've got about, I don't know, about 15 cents worth of powder, about 3 cents in a primer, and then these bullets are about 27 cents a piece. These are not the cheapest bullets available. You know, these are pretty nice bullets, so you can save a little bit on bullets. So that puts our cost per round here at about 45 cents. I don't know what spam cans are going for these days, but it's probably a good bit cheaper than that. Yeah, it's pulled up GunBot here. Looks like, yeah, it's as cheap as 21, but that's not very common. Looks like the The more common stuff is that 30 to 50 cent range, 30, 40 cents maybe. So it's pretty close, but you're not going to be saving a lot of money. But this is going to shoot a hell of a lot better. That I can guarantee you. You know, you may need to go to, maybe your gun won't like the 308 bullets. Might need to switch to 311 bullets. But there's no doubt that you're going to get your gun shooting a little bit better. And maybe that's not important to you. You know, if it's all about making it go bang for the least amount of money, then reloading's probably not going to get it done for you. Alright, so there's that. We're ready for primers. We are absolutely ready for primers. Yeah, this little kit here, this is the Lyman case prep multi-tool, I think they call it. It comes with the primer pocket scraper I showed you for large and small primers. These use large primers, large rifle primers. There's also small rifle primers, and then large and small pistol primers. This also comes with primer pocket reamers, which are little blades that go in and really frickin' ream out. You basically never want to use those, ever. But that comes with them. I like this tool. The chamfer and deburring ends are very sharp and just do a really nice job. We've got a, it's also very pointy. Like here's another one. You can see it's, you know, the angle is much different. Kind of puts a steeper chamfer on that guy. Alright, what the hell am I talking about? We need to, well, first I need to get this brass shavings off the bench, and then we're ready for priming. I prefer hand priming. So this is an RCBS hand priming tool. A lot of different brands of hand priming tools, but yep, you basically just pop it in there and this pushes a primer in. We need 40 of these guys. 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah, and then these have like little ridges on it, and you shake it around and the primers all flip over to where the anvil side is up. And then I put this back on here. And they flop around again. Come on. There's always one that doesn't want to flip. There we go. So there we are, we're priming. This is a universal job. This just case flops in there, and then the primer gets pushed in there. This Norma brass has very tight primer pockets. But you can see the primer goes in there nice, and you kind of just run your finger over it to make sure it's a little bit below flush. You don't want the primer hanging out there. So that's that. I just need to run through these. Get the primers put in. And at that point we're ready for powder. On the subject of primers, there are a lot of options out there, right? Brands and types, and so you got large rifle primers, large rifle magnum primers, large rifle bench rest primers, large rifle military primers. When you're talking about 7.62 by 54R, you just want standard large rifle primers. And I don't freak out a lot about primers. You know, I just buy what the hell's available. I like CCIs. I like Federals, I like Winchesters. It's all good, you know, like don't freak out too much about primers. And also, back to the subject of cost per round. My long-term plan with these guys is to shoot cast bullets. And at that point, you know, I pick up scrap lead at the range, melt it down, and make bullets. I mean, they're, you know, the only cost in them is my time. So that really brings your cost down, right? And then we're talking about 18 cents per round shooting cast. And that'll be coming up on the channel if that's something you're interested in. There'll be videos on that subject to come. But for today, by God, we're shooting jacketed bullets, and we are ready for powder. Figured I'd make it easy. So I do want to go ahead and do 10 rounds per charge. So we're just going to make it easy. 39, 40, 41, and 42 grains. That's what we're going to shoot. So we'll start out with 39 grains. Need to get a scale. We've got our powder. Need a funnel. And I need a bowl to put the powder in. So yeah, we're just going to do this the easy way. Dump the powder into there. And we need a trickler, right, which we use to trickle powder slowly. And this guy. Alright, so IMR 4895 is a lot like IMR 4064 or Varget. If you've seen one of those, it's a large granule extruded powder. And what we're going to try is the scoop that came with our Lee kit. We'll see what a scoop of that gets us. But before we do that, I like to test my scales with a set of check weights. Where are my tweezers? There are my tweezers. So our first charge is 39. So there's 20, 30, 5, 37, 39 grains. And scale reads perfect. 39 grains. So let's see what a scoop of this stuff gets us. Hopefully it'll be somewhere close. Yeah, a little bit high. 43.5. I'll tell you what. I like these scoops. You can get a kit of them, which I own, for like $10. And this gives you lots of different sizes. So that was 3.1 cc's. So the next size down is 2.8 cc's. So we'll see what this scoop gets us. That is 38.7, which is almost perfect. So 39 is our target. So let me get the trickler over here. Takes a while to get the powder flowing. Come on, there we go. Yep, I went a little bit too far. Take out a couple granules. There we are, 39 grains. There we are. Move on to the next one. Now that is, I won't even be able to show you where the powder is down in there, but that fills up the case to maybe about right there. Not a very full case. Plenty of room for more. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh out 10 of these, and then we can go ahead and seat the bullets in these first 10. Alright, this is the last of the first 10 here. Once you get your rhythm, get your flow going, it doesn't take that long to weigh out charges. Now, before you go seating bullets, you want to be very careful, and you want to visually inspect down inside of those cases to make 100% certain that you got powder in there, right? Yep, there's powder in the first 2 rows, and it all looks to be about the same level. You're not going to spot small differences, but hopefully you'll be able to spot dangerous differences. So let's get our bullet seating die in the press and get started. Alright, bullet seating dies are pretty straightforward. Got an adjustment thingy here that sets that this little stem here, the bullet goes up and it kind of goes inside of this stem, and then that's a really good fit, and then that just pushes it down into the neck of the case. And it's never a bad idea. Got a new bullet, especially if it's got a funky nose or something, just to pull the seating stem out of your die and make sure that it's going to fit okay, and that it's going to be able to straighten that bullet out and get it seating in there nice and straight. Alright, so the bullet seating die, or at least the Lee bullet seating dies, go down in until it touches the shell holder, like that, and then you back it out 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. Now, some seating dies are capable of crimping, and setting those up is a little bit more involved. Luckily, with this Lee set, the crimping die is, or the crimping is done with a separate die. Right, they include this, where the hell did it go? Oh, it's right in front of me. This Lee factory crimp die, which, as you can see in there, there's the 4 sections that squeeze together and kind of basically pinch the top of the case around the bullet. For a bolt action like a Mosin, you don't want to go overboard with crimping. There's no need for some big heavy crimp. But we'll go ahead and use this, and that's what, whenever you set this, you screw it in until it touches, and then as you screw it in more, you see the 4 little spaces around those collets, I guess you'd call them, pinched together, and that space closes up, and you're able to just kind of watch those spaces close up to set how far you're going. Okay, so that's down until it touches, and then backed it off 3 turns, and then this guy right here, screw it down until it touches, and then look in the top and then just keep on screwing it down until those until those kind of pinch together a little bit. Like here, I'm not even going close to where they're touching, but letting them close up a good bit, but not quite touch. That's basically where I'm setting it. And we'll see what that gets us. We'll inspect it, make sure it's not over crimping once we get to that point. All right. So there is that. Now our bullet seating die. Here's our first piece of brass. Here's our bullet. See, it's not going to go down in there, of course, but it should sit down in there, especially a bullet like this that has a boat tail. It's got the kind of that tapered bit. The boat tail should sit down in there, and it should, it should sit down in there. We run this guy up into the die, and screw down our adjustment stem until we feel it start touching. Yeah, and there it is. And then we'll go like a healthy little amount there. Now this, I don't know if you can tell, this is almost all the way screwed in. We may need to back this seating die out a little bit more. But that got the bullet started. It's no longer, you're no longer able to pull it out of there. So we have started the seating process a little bit, but that's clearly about 1.5 miles too long. But this is where we want to employ our calipers, and 2.820 is our target, which is straight out of the Hornady manual. Yeah, we're at 3.1. So, 0.28 inches, 280 thousandths too long. Tell you what, I'll just screw this down a good bit. That's about as far as it'll go. Yeah, it's still over 3 inches. So I need to actually screw. Oh my God, I totally screwed up. I totally just screwed up. I'm an idiot. I am a complete freaking idiot. I set this die wrong. I set it like a pistol die. This is one of their, I think they call it like dead length sizing die or whatever. You actually put it down. You screw it down until it touches. See? By God. That's why you read the freaking instructions, which the lead dies come with outstanding instructions. Here we go. Easy adjust, dead length, bullet seating die. God, I'm such a freaking idiot. Simply screw the seating die in until it touches the shell holder, plus an additional quarter turn, and finger tighten the lock ring. Bullet seating depth is controlled by the adjusting screw. That's what you get. Alright, down there it's touching. Go an additional quarter turn. So this guy really makes solid contact with that shell holder. Man, I'm an idiot. Alright, so let's back our seating stem way out again. Run this guy back up into the die. And then same deal. Take this guy down until it touches. There we go. Now we've got plenty of adjustment. Imagine that. You set the die correctly and it gives you plenty of adjustment room. 2.820 is our target, right? Yep, we're still 1.5 miles long. 2.988. .946, still very much long. 2.892, so we're 70 thousandths long. So that's we're getting closer. .868, still a good bit long. 2.853. Yeah, we're just about out of adjustment again. .831. 11 thousandths too long. .822. So now we're just 2 thousandths long. That's what we're looking like now. So let's go ahead and seed a couple more and get some more measurements. See whether they all come out the same. Sometimes I like to, you kind of get it started, and then I like to back it out, turn the case about a quarter turn, and 2.824, so that one's 4 thousandths long. So, you know, like that bullet's kind of sitting on there a little bit crooked, right? When you put it up in there, it straightens itself out, but like once it gets past, starts getting into the neck, I like to just give it a little tweak, just to help it all get straightened out and sit nice and straight. 2.824. Okay, so that's 4 thousandths long. Run this guy back and see what we get. 2.819. So I probably went a little bit too far, but that's okay. .815, 2.817. Yeah, I went too deep. Went too far. That's okay. 2.818. So now let's switch over to our Leaf Factory crimp die. Run it up in there, and let's see if we can actually see if it did anything. The one on the left is the one that has been crimped. If it's done anything, it's just a little, which is just how I want it. Like I said, I'm not freaked out about needing to crimp these all that much. So now what I need is my ammo box here, and these are going to go in the first 2 rows. Yeah, there are those guys. So as we seat the bullet, factory crimp, ready to shoot. So that's pretty much the process. I'm going to run through and move on to these next 3 charges and get them done, and then I'll probably see you guys once I'm wrapping things up, or if I screw something up, I'll let you know. Coming right down here to the end, just seating these last couple bullets. And we will have ourselves a nice looking box of ammo ready for the range. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it? Alright, yeah, looking forward. Should get to the range really quick. So if you're watching this video shortly after it's been posted, the next one should be right on its heels. So we'll see how they shoot, and I'll see you guys next time.